Hey everybody, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy. Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, you know, where we would be discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. Hey friends, welcome back. It's good to have you all here. Looking forward to going over this week's comic book review with you. I did read a lot of them, but that doesn't mean I could read everything, and there's some good, some bad, and some updates on what's the future holding for some comic series. With that said, I'm going to dive in now to Nightwing number 115. League of Comics Geeks said 158 out of 177 liked it with a 3.8 average rating, where I gave it a 7. And we have Tom Taylor still writing this book with artist Bruno Redondo. It says the Heartless saga by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo continues. Yes, it does. When things go up in flames, Dick must put his feelings aside and help Shelton, aka Heartless, to find his butler. Yeah, he creates a problem to trick good old Nightwing, Dick Grayson, to be alone to, save his butler, which didn't really need to be saved. Heartless and Zuko are working together in this issue to get a hold of Dick. Yeah, I know it sounds bad, doesn't it? And I will say, Dick blows his secret identity. Yes, his secret identity is blown. What can I say? This is a setup to Dick. Yep, he gets caught. But I will say, though, there's some mediocre art in this book. But the big issue I have with this is Batman, Bruce Wayne, was there, and he didn't see this setup coming. I thought he was supposed to be like a master detective and a super smart tactical mind. How did he not know something was happening to Dick Grayson? Well, Dick Grayson gets caught, and he gets busted, and he gets set up in this issue. It's not a bad issue, actually. I would check it out if you're a Nightwing fan. If you're not, I wouldn't bother too much. It is what it is. Next one we'll talk about is nearing its end, and that's the sensational She-Hulk number 9. It's got a pretty good cover. The alternate cover is not as good in my opinion. And we have the writer's Rainbow Rowell. Artist is Andre Ginolette, which I probably butchered. Anyway, if you're not familiar, this is going to be near the end. Issue number 10 is hinted to be the end of, not hinted, it is the end of this series of Sensational She-Hulk. This is the most explosive She-Hulk story in history. I don't really believe that. It's got a good cover. It's got decent art in this issue. And She-Hulk gets a big offer in this issue. From Captain Marvel, she gets to meet up with her ex-boyfriend there, Thor, so that's interesting to see. But really, this book needed a different art style and more action. I think it would have retained and generated more readers. This book will be canceled. Issue number 10 will be its last. It doesn't seem like Marvel's quite getting it. They keep trying to market these books to an audience that doesn't really exist. I understand trying to grow your audience. I get that. But you can't grow your audience by cutting off your present audience. The goal is to grow it. Means you probably are going to need to maintain both. Very few companies can actually shed a previous audience and do better. Next book I want to talk about is Captain America issue number 10. 36 out of 44 liked it with a 3.5 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. Oh, wait a minute. Did I give you the She-Hulk? My She-Hulk score was a 10, by the way. I can't remember if I gave it. That's one of the things about doing these live. You sort of miss out sometimes if you make a boo-boo. Well, anyway, Captain America issue number 10. 36 out of 45 liked it with a 3.5 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave it a 7.4. Looking like with the numbers like that this book isn't selling really well, which is a shame for me because I'm a big Captain America fan. Anyway, we have writers J. Michael Straczynski and artist Jesus Ayaz. And I will say the cover for this book, not good. It's just not a very good cover. It doesn't really attract any attention. They need to do better cover art. There are some alternate covers, but for the most part, those aren't anything that special either. Anyway, we have this issue, The Price of Freedom. When a change agent on Captain America's recruitment list finds him, Cap expects the front door Carbrace protection to be an easy sell. Instead, though, he's confronted by a critical question. How do you protect someone who doesn't want your help? Well, they get attacked and they end up taking his help. As I said earlier, cover's not good, but the interior art is much better than the cover art. Even though same style, it's just cover art was weak. Decent action in this issue, decent story progression in this issue, but there is a definite twist at the end of this issue. I think it was 7.4. It's not a bad book, but I can see why it's not generating a lot of readers. One of Marvel's good books lately that's been seeming to do well, in my opinion, it could be doing better in the sales, but it's been well written and well drawn, is The Invincible Iron Man. We're going to talk about Invincible Iron Man issue number 19, where 67 out of 76 liked it with a 3.7 rating on League of Comics Geeks. I gave it a 7.6. We have Jerry Duggan writing it, and Andra Di Vito is the artist. Sorry if I butchered your name. And it says on here in the blurb on League of Comics Geeks, which isn't really that true, War Machine first Iron Man. Really what you get is War Machine punching Tony in the face because he went to jail, just to say, okay, now we're even. I got my anger out at you. But we have Rhodey there. He's helping out and he's recruiting a team of their own, which is pretty cool. It's good art in this issue. War Machine really does build an interesting army for going to war. I like that. And it's really, I enjoy seeing Rhodey and Tony together. Their friendship is something special. I think that Marvel should continue to work on and utilize. Solid end to the story arc as well. And we're jumping off at this point to the next story arc, which I'm going to be entertained to see and interested. So far I've been entertained. I'm going to be interested to see that. Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by My Wallet. Yeah, I'm not trying to push any kind of wallet or pimp any wallet out. What I mean is it's sponsored by my personal wallet and the cash that comes out of it to pay for these things. If you want to help with this, you can hit like, subscribe, that notification bell. Those are great ways to get started. But if you find yourself in a position where you can help the channel more, we have a Patreon and a subscribe star down below that you can click on those links. And for as little as $1 a month, you'll have special videos and things to just you, music that you can get. Or maybe if you wanted to, a one-time donation just to help out, we have a Streamlabs link down below. Or we also have, if you go to the Patreon shop, you could buy a song for like $3. I wish I could put them a little lower, but that's the minimum they allow for that. So there's lots of options. Sometimes you might even see an Amazon link. If you want to buy anything through Amazon, click on my link first, then go through there. That'll give me a couple pennies, possibly that way too as well. So there's lots of ways you can help out the channel, because without you, it would not be possible. So thank you, everybody. And let's get back to the video. Now, something maybe I'm a little less interested. You hear my notes rattling? Yep, that's my notes, because I'm old school that way when I do this. Let's talk about The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 52. Got some good news. The word is that Zeb Wells will be off the book soon. I know it seems harsh. I get it, but let's be honest. This run has not been good for Amazing Spider-Man. Said 106 out of 176 liked it with a 2.9 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. That's not good. That's pretty darn horrible. Not good at all. Writer Zeb Wells, artist Todd Newak, and I'm not saying Zeb Wells is necessarily a bad writer. He's just not the right Spider-Man writer. This story is not working in any way whatsoever. It says, ready in the blurb on League of Comics Geek says, nothing is okay. I think that summarizes this book. This issue is so shocking and troubling, we can't even show you the cover. Yeah, you can, but whatever. All right, so let's talk about that. We get a return of Wreck Rap. Yeah, let's be honest, nobody likes this character. If you like this character, let me know. You might be the one person. I can't stand Wreck Rap. Get rid of this character. It is good art in this issue, and there's good action, but this story is a complete crap story. Zeb Wells is leaving this book, and I once again, I know it sounds harsh, because I don't think it could be soon enough. I gave this book a 7, and I think I was being generous with that. I don't probably shouldn't have. When I look back at I'm going, what the heck was I thinking even giving this book a 7? It's not good. Time to get Spider-Man a new team. Can't wait to see that happen. Staying in the spider area, let's talk about Spider-Woman number 8. 32 out of 42 liked it with a 3.4 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave this book a 7. We have the writer is Steve Fox, artist is Ig Guara, and it says, "Who are the Assembly?" Yeah, Spider-Woman finds San Francisco full of old foes, old friends, and a new super team that could still be either. Yeah, there's an issue there. After a fight with Angar the Screamer, the origin of another new Champions character will be revealed. Yep, and we get this new team here. Yeah, the team's a little lame, but definitely there's a reason for that, and I think there's an interesting twist with that team. So that part I actually don't mind. It's decent art, decent action in this book. It's actually good story progression. I just don't like the main story. I don't like what they did with her kid. I don't think she should ever had the kid in the first place. That was dumb. But with that said, this book, I believe, is also on the chopping block. I believe this might just last to issue number 10. I can't guarantee that this one Sensational She-Hulk is, and there'll be another book I'm going to talk about in a moment that will be on the chopping block. Issue 10 will be its last, and it will be no surprise. Yeah, no surprise. I mean, I think we've all seen this coming. It seems like it's almost a joke right now online, and it's Captain Marvel number 9. Yep, this is going to go to 10 issues, by the way. After Captain Marvel hits 10, guess what? Rebooting it again, and it seems like a theme. Nobody can seem to get this character to sell. I wonder why. If you look at the most popular long-run version, I think, of the character was when she was Miss Marvel. Now, I'm not saying I have anything against her current outfit or anything. I don't think that's the only reason why. I think a lot of it's the story she's been given, but a lot of it's the change of characterization. If we get back to more of the characterization to what she was, and some people are going to go, what about character growth? There's a difference between character growth and a completely differently written character. And if I think we got more back to that, I think this character would be more embraced. But that's my thoughts. But, you know, she's only got issues of sales to prove that. But hey, it is what it is. So Captain Marvel number 9. 10 will be its last issue. 33 out of 38 liked it with a 3.6 average rating. I gave the book a 6.8. Yeah, so I was a lot harder on this book, evidently, than the League of Comics Geeks readers were. Anyway, the writer is Lissa Wong, and letterer is Aria Mar, which, sorry, I don't know why. I usually don't mention the letterer. A penciler is Rurari Coleman, which I'm just butchering that name. This book, it says Broken Bonds. Isolated from Yuna and her allies, Captain Marvel is about to find a place at the Undun's table at the main course. An endless food supply for a cosmic being. But we're talking about the woman who took down the Brood after they tortured her mind and body beyond superhuman limits. Carol Danvers will fight her way out of this too, right? Maybe? Yeah, of course she will. This book is mediocre art. So think about, and then one of the issues, last issue, Carol gets wrecked. And now she gets pincushioned by all these spikes. But now Carol can take a bunch of puncture wounds and barely be bothered. She just gets out of those and she's okay. She's okay able to move around and all that. Bullcrap. Marvel, that's one of their big problems is Carol Danvers. They're trying to make her out to something she never was. They keep trying to, how powerful she is. She was never this powerful. She was never able to do this. And I think that's part of the problem. People like a character that sometimes often is the underdog to the villains, where they power her up so much they sort of got the Superman problem. What do you do with a character that's so powerful? And they write her wishy-washy. One moment she's super powerful, the next minute she's not. They need to figure it out. But issue 10 is the final issue. And then, as we said, we all know it. This is the Captain Marvel thing now. Another reboot for Captain Marvel because it can't just sustain sales. This ought to be a wake-up call. How many times does Marvel have to screw this up before they can figure out that they're not writing a character that people want to read? I think Carol Danvers is a good character with lots of story potential for the future. The question is, when will Marvel get off of their agenda of trying to push certain things on the readers and actually deliver what the reader wants? And I know sometimes this is an issue with Marvel. They think they know best for what everybody wants, but they've proven it time and time again that they don't. Like, you can't give Spider-Man fans Peter and Mary Jane together. That's delivering what they want. And they wouldn't like that. Wrong answer. They would like that. That's what they want. Give the readers a little bit once in a while. Give them a reason to come back and read your issue. All right, let's shift to something pretty good here. Let's talk about G.I. Joe issue 307. I don't see this on League of Comics Geeks. I'm probably blind and missing it. But it get posted a few days ago. Maybe they took it off of there. Another good issue from G.I. Joe. Yeah. G.I. Joe continues to fight wars on two fronts as Cobra Island and Springfield become key battlegrounds in the war with Serpentor. But Destro has his own plans. This cover is really cool. I mean, any Destro fan or Baroness fan will like this cover. We all like Baroness. Let's be honest, she's awesome. Great cover, good art, good action in this issue. The Joes provide intel on the future battle, but can they escape the island with their lives? Only time will tell. I give this issue a 7.6. I really like it. Larry Hama is the writer. Artist is Tony Cardos, Paul Piletter, and Francisco Segala, which, once again, I know I butchered that, but this has been fun. I'm enjoying G.I. Joe more again. When G.I. Joe gets all into the mind control thing, I think they leaned into that way too much and drowned it out way too long. I mean, they're doing some other weird stuff now, but I'm still enjoying it. I can't complain about that. And you know what? If you're a G.I. Joe fan, I think you will too. You know, we already talked about an issue of Spider-Man that was crap. Let's be honest. But let's talk about an issue of Spider-Man that's good. Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 6. 711 out of 716 liked it with a 4.7 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. I want to stop there. Yes, I did not misspeak. That is 711 out of 716. Look at that number. And this is issue 6. Usually after issue number 1, you expect a 40 to 60% fall off because of collectors and then to continue. And the goal is if it continues through story arc, usually pretty good. And if it continues those numbers through the second story arc, you're even better. This series has done nothing but kick butt. Look at that number compared to the Amazing Spider-Man readers and reviewer numbers. This should be eye-opening. And I think we should be taking a moment to thank the writer Jonathan Hickman and artist Marco Cicchetto for that. They are doing a fantastic job. The shocking conclusion of the ultimate opening arc. Spider-Man must finally confront the head honcho himself, Wilson Fisk. And if you don't know the name of that kingpin there, you're not a Spider-Man fan. Well, that's who it is. As the owner and operator, yes, he is the owner and operator of the Daily Bugle as well. He's been working with the Makers Council to control the spread of information in their favor, which means he's the first domino that must be toppled in the regime. So yes, Spider-Man takes on the Kingpin, but not alone. He's got the Goblin for help. But I'm going to tell you, whew, great cover in this issue, great art, great action in this issue as well. The writer continues to do an excellent job of this series, and also does an excellent job of making Kingpin to be a serious threat. Not just a behind-the-scenes smart threat, but a powerful threat as well. Good story in this one, good progression. And I think one of the keys to this is great characterization. This is the Spider-Man people want. You notice we've got a married Spider-Man here. Yeah, something that Marvel thinks, oh, won't sell. We have a married Spider-Man. We have a Spider-Man in an Ultimate version that's more the traditional Spider-Man than we're getting in the Amazing Spider-Man. And look at the sales. I think this should be telling. The fans want it to go back to the way it was. They want their traditional Spider-Man. And it'd be interesting if Marvel would actually listen and do it. But this is Marvel. They'll probably find a way to, screw that up. Let's talk about Batman Superman, World's Finest, issue number 28. 143 out of 148 liked it with a 4.2 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, where I gave this book a 7.5. Strong score. Mark Waid is the writer. Artist is Dan Moore. This team's been working together for a little while. We have the heroes uniting to save the fifth dimension as well as the Earth. Something is destroying the fifth dimension. And if the army of evil imps can obliterate all the joy and life from the entire reality, what chances do Superman and Batman stand against it? Well, we're going to get a multitude of imps and all this stuff from third-dimensional counterparts in this issue, and we'll see if they can save the day. It's decent art, and this reminds me of some of the old goofy World's Finest stories. Yeah, back when the issues were like 10 and 12 cents. Yeah, I have some of those, and they are some goofy stories. This just really does take me back to that, and that's not a cheap shot. That's a good shot. That's interesting. World's Finest has that twist to it, and I really like that. And it looks like in this issue, Batman needs towards the end to learn to spend less time talking and more time focusing on the issue at hand. Oh, I took a shot at Batman there. If you read the issue, you'll understand that little joke that I made there. No, don't get mad at me, Batman. I know it's prep time. You'll be able to beat me. The next one I want to talk about is Green Lantern War Journal number 10. 62 out of 66 liked it with a 4 average rating. Writer Philip Kennedy Johnson, artist Montos. Now, I gave this book a 7. Nothing major. It says tested against the odds. The conscientious team of these people and Guy Gardner are about to test their strength. Like, I wouldn't be able to say that name right. That's why I skipped it. They're about to test their strength against the entire United Plan's blockade on a suicide mission to rescue Jon Stewart from the oldest enemy of the Guardians. Yep, we get that, and we get some more insight into his mother and getting her taken care of. It's decent art in this book. It's a pretty dark story. It's with some dark moments and some cool moments, I might add as well. This book, though, is a little slow in the pacing. That's one of my knocks against it. The pacing is slow. But at the end of this issue, we're also going to get a glimpse of Guy Gardner. So if you're a Guy Gardner fan, you're probably going to want to check out the next issue. This has been an okay series. If you're a Green Lantern fan or a Jon Stewart fan, I would recommend checking it out. If you're not, it's one of those flip a coin if you get it. The Hal Jordan Green Lantern series, in my opinion, is the better one of the group, but this doesn't mean this is bad. Let's be honest, the Hal Jordan one's really good, so it sets the bar pretty high. Next one I want to talk about is one that's been all over the place, and that's Batman, issue 149. 240 out of 265 liked it with a 3.9 average rating from League of Comics Geeks, and I gave it a 7.1. Now remember, this is Batman. 240 out of 265 liked it. That's pretty normal area for Batman. It's starting to go back on the upswing again. But remember the Ultimate SpiderMan one, how it is crushing this. That should tell you something right there. That writing matters. The team on the book actually matters. Writers Chip Zdarsky and artist is Steve Lieber. And this was no shot against Chip Zdarsky there either, because this book's still doing well. And anyway, this is an epilogue. All we've lost and all we left behind. When confronted with the totality of your life and all the choices that led you to where you are, do you build on the ashes or do you rise from them? The Batman clone is here, which was made to be Robin, but it's actually a Bruce clone. But he's burning out quickly. And what perspective and what will that do to change our Bruce Wayne's life? It's a good ending to the story arc. It's okay art. And actually, I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for the Bat family. I wasn't a big fan of the whole Zur and all this other stuff that we've been getting. But you know what? I'm interested to see what Chip can do. Chip has surprised me on some other titles like Spider-Man before. And this wasn't the strongest in Batman, in my opinion, but we've had worse. And I will give his next run a chance and see what's going on. Now, this next one is no surprise to me. This is a continuation of miniseries in the G.I. Joe family, and I think we should all be reading them. Even if you're not a G.I. Joe fan, I think you'd like these stories. And that book is none other than Destro #1. 143 out of 151 liked it with a 4 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave this one an 8.5. Writers Dan Waters, as well as Kelly Thompson. Artist is Andrew Bresnan. And anyways, as the next chapter of the Cobra threat begins here, and boy does it ever. We have a takeover by Destro. We have the great seeing of Tomax and Zaymont and some other behind-the-scenes things as the armor war builds up for guns and ammo and tech and all that stuff. This story is off to an excellent start. The art is good, the action's good in this issue, and the story is good. It gets some nice back view more of, the character of Destro. And we get some more character building here as well. I'm not going to spoil it, but we're building another character here clearly, and it's a fan favorite character too. This current batch of G.I. Joe miniseries, in my opinion, is probably the best period of G.I. Joe we've ever had. It is, in my opinion. These miniseries have been fantastic. They're better than the main series. It's just, we're getting character building, we're getting good action, pretty good art for the most part. Really, I think this is something to do not miss out on. Get these miniseries. There's also Scarlet right now. I don't think you'll regret if you do. Even if you're not a G.I. Joe fan, you haven't been following G.I. Joe, I think you might still like this and find it interesting. I love it. I'm all in. This has been a great thing for the G.I. Joe brand through Image Comics. So that's what I read. I read quite a bit. In my notes there, quite a bit. What did you read? What did you like? What should I read? I'm sure I missed something, but I read all of these. I had somebody in the comments politely ask me, wasn't mean, said, "Hey, do you actually read all these?" I said, "I do. I don't review them without reading them. I actually read through them all." And he's like, "Wow." And I appreciate that because it's a lot to read. It's a lot to do. But I'm not the only one that does that. A lot of other people are doing that too. And I suggest you do and search them out. They're great. And if you want to know some people who I would recommend listening to and checking out, let me know in the comments, and I'll give you some suggestions of channels to check out on this, as well as games and music and stuff like that if you're interested on my thoughts and what I check out and what I listen to and watch. Because, you know what, let's build this community and help each other out. Thank you, everybody, for your time. You've all been fantastic. And until next time, keep it frugal.